Okay, so I'm getting ready to wash my hair. I ended up having a lot to do yesterday, so I didn't wash it when it was day 7 like I normally would. I usually do 6 or 7, but this is 8, so it's particularly tangled. So what I like to do when it's pretty tangled, I can't really get my fingers through it, and I don't want any mats or knots that are really hard to get out in the shower. I split it in 2 like this. Sometimes I'll even do it in 4 if I need to. I first start off by kind of just pulling it apart really gently, just like this. And anytime if you have to deal with any matting or really hard tangles or knots to get out, I like to go in with a little bit of oil too. I like to use the Curlsmith Intense Treatment Serum. This one works really, really nicely. It's a solid form to start with, and then when you rub it around, it turns to oil. Or you can use coconut oil or something. Those aren't great for moisturizing your hair necessarily because it is oil and it doesn't mix well with the water there. Now, depending on your hair type, you might need that to really help lock in that moisture, but it's not something we want to use just for moisturizing. But it is great for detangling. You just have to make sure you do an extra thorough job with your shampoo when you do use it, and that is a time I would brush the shampoo all the way through and make sure you get it on all your hair just to really get that oil coating off. But since it's not that bad today, I'm just going to leave it dry, and I'm taking my wide tooth comb. I'm just holding it here so it's not pulling on my scalp and it doesn't hurt. This is what you do, especially if you're working on kids and they have a tender head, or if you have a tender head and you're doing this on yourself. It's the best way to do it. Just working from the bottom and going up. This isn't pulling out a lot of hair. This isn't yanking it out. This is a good way to kind of get that first layer of knots out, the big ones. Pulling it apart really helps to start with, and then going through with this wide tooth comb is going to get those bigger section of knots so that it's then easier to go in and get the smaller ones with the brush in a minute. So if it's not going through all the way, I just come a little bit lower down and then just slowly work up, kind of starting the overall section and then slowly working my way back to where the worst of the knots are. And if there's some where you can kind of see the knot, you can always pick it out with the comb just like this. If you see the particular spot, you can just kind of pick it out with using the comb vertically. And again, if it gets caught, just go a little bit lower and then work your way back up to that point. We don't want to yank it out. We don't want to be ripping our hair out. Shouldn't be painful. Might tug a little bit, but definitely shouldn't be in pain doing this. Just do it really, really gently. Like I said, guys, this is day 8 hair. I detangled it once on day 3, and I have not detangled it since then. So this is a good amount of tangles to show this to you on, and I'm not gonna cut it because I want to show you guys in real time how long this takes. There's some stubborn ones. See, it's getting caught there. I'm just gonna go in with the comb, kind of pick it out. Super easy. Another one, same thing. Just slowly go in that way. Now, you don't typically want to detangle on dry hair, but like I said, if it's going to avoid like ripping it out in the shower with the brush while you're going through, it's okay to do a dry detangle first, and for some people this even works better on their hair. So it's not a right or wrong way to do it. You just want to be gentle however you are doing it. Typically I just do it in the shower, but when it's super tangled, I like to get those knots out first so the water's not congealing it together really. So after this side is nice and fluffy and brushed out, not tangled, I'm going to take this brush. This is the Unbrush. I like this one for dry detangling. I prefer to use my Tangle Teaser or Easy Detangler brush in the shower. I find this one doesn't work great when I'm doing that kind of detangling, but for just getting that last layer out, after I've already done the wide tooth comb, this works great. But you'll have to just try it for yourself. I know this worked really great for detangling for some people. Then just go to the other side. Again, just holding it really tight. Coming down, starting at the bottom. Slowly working my way up. I'm just holding it really tight to my scalp to get the most amount of the hair here before I let go. So I get all those tangles out without hurting my scalp. And then if it's really struggling here, you can always separate it. I can slowly work my way up. And it's caught, just go vertical, pick it out, and it gets through nice and easy. And for this section, break it up even further if I need to. Brushing dry hair doesn't always sound the nicest, but you're going to have a little bit of hair in the brush. That's just natural if you've gone days and days without brushing your hair. But you shouldn't be seeing hairs that are shorter than the length of your hair on your head. Now, I have layers, so obviously there's going to be some pieces that are this short, some pieces that are this long, but you don't want to see pieces that are like half the length of your hair. That means you're being too rough and it's causing breakage, or your hair is in a really fragile state for some reason. It could be from hormones, from medication, from damage, from heat, color, lightener, just all kinds of things. It could be from the weather if it's super dry, or if you were in a pool and the chlorine was damaging. But we don't want to be ripping our hair out and breaking it. But some hair in the brush is just normal shedding, and that is completely expected and nothing to worry about. The more days you go in between brushing your hair, the more you're going to see in the brush. So some people think it makes you lose more hair if you don't brush your hair as often. That's not true, especially for curly hair. You don't want to brush it every day. You lose 100 to 200 hairs a day naturally, and if you brush your hair every single day, 100 to 200 hairs are coming out in your brush. But if you go 5 days without brushing your hair, then you're multiplying that number by 5. So you're going to be losing 5 times as much hair. It's still the same normal amount coming out of your head every day. It just doesn't have a chance to fall. So it looks like a lot's coming out in your brush, but I promise it's not more than it's supposed to be. So the combined shedding from not detangling for about 5 days is about this much, which is pretty normal for me, especially going this long for wash day. And then this is what it looks like. You see I can run my fingers through it. It's nice and detangled, and it's ready for me to wash.